Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Moti Veda Vibhagine Yomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanantam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste, my friends. Welcome. And we don't have Ruth here, maybe. I mean, our last satsang was all about Maya. Maybe she got an overdose of Maya. And then she said, I better pass on today's class, because we're going to go more and more into the deeper waters of Maya, that which is not really clearly comprehensible to the human intellect. So we will begin from where we stopped. The stage one in this creation, we are looking to how the creation occurs or unfolds. So we have seen these teachings a few times already, and Ramji has exposed these teachings. And it's always good to look into it again and again, because it's very subtle. All these notions and these fine distinctions between Maya and Shwara, and the ignorance and the Avidya, and all these terms, that we have in there, and we're going to make an effort today to understand it a little bit better. So the stage number one in the creation, it comes from, it's the stage of knowledge. So how this knowledge comes about? It comes by a predominant sattva aspect in Prakriti, okay? This macrocosmic reflecting medium, okay? So it goes by saying that pure macrocosmic Sattvic Prakriti is a clear, bright mirror. It's called reflected consciousness, pratibimba, chaitanya. So pure macrocosmic Sattvic Prakriti. So we should make a step backwards and remember here that point that Mark has reminded us in the end of last class about the two types. The verse 15 talk about Prakriti, and then it says it is of two kinds. You remember? Do you remember? Yeah. So the two kinds of Prakriti is pure Prakriti and impure Prakriti. Okay. So the pure Prakriti, and this is going to be unfolded in the following verse. The pure Prakriti is just when this macrocosmic reflecting medium is mostly dominated by Sattva Guna, by Sattva energy. So when it is very Sattvic, okay, and then it brings about a reflection that is called pure. Now, pure Prakriti is the reflecting medium when it's heavily conditioned by Sattva, okay? When it's heavily conditioned, that kind of Prakriti, that nature of Prakriti is said to be a pure Prakriti, or Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, which is a Prakriti, which is predominant by Sattva, okay? So the aspect of this reflecting medium, which is mostly predominant by Sattva, is called Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, and it's called also pure Prakriti, and it's also called Maya Ishwara, okay? It's Maya. Maya has two aspects to itself. One is pure knowledge, which is how this paragraph begins. Maya has two aspects. One is pure knowledge. So when it's pure knowledge, we call it Ishwara, okay? Pure knowledge, all knowing. Huh? But it also has another aspect to itself, this Maya, when Rajas and Tamas comes into place, and that we call Avidya. So we have Maya and Avidya. So Maya, Ishwara, is the pure, is the reflection of pratibimba. Chaitanya is a reflection of consciousness in this pure Prakriti, or the Prakriti which is mostly dominated by Sattva. So the Prakriti is going to be called pure Prakriti. Prakriti of the two kinds, pure and impure, but it's matter. Okay, it's matter. But consciousness, once it reflects on that aspect of this macrocosmic medium, reflecting medium, when it's pure, it produces what? It produces Maya Ishwara, this knowledge, intelligence. Okay? The same consciousness, when it reflects on the other aspect of this medium, reflecting medium, macrocosmic, when it's conditioned, when it's mixed with, there is some sattva there, but there is some mixture with rajas and tamas, and then it's called impure Prakriti. So Prakriti of two kinds, pure and impure. Prakriti is just the medium, the reflecting medium, is matter, is subtle energy, is subtle, very, very subtle energy. The energies of the three kinds, and the Prakriti of the Prakriti, the medium, reflecting medium of two kinds, pure and impure. When it reflects in the pure, it produces Maya / Ishwara. It's the aspect of this reflection, which is pure knowledge intelligence. Okay, so we have Maya, and then when it reflects into Rajas, very, very interestingly, it produces the Jivas. Okay, when it reflects on this Prakriti, when the Prakriti is no longer pure, but when its Prakriti is impure because it is conditioned by Rajas and Tamas, but when this Prakriti is mostly conditioned by Rajas, it produces the Jivatma, the Jiva, okay? It brings about these sentient beings, okay? When it reflects on this other aspect of impure Prakriti, which has also the name of Raja Malina, Raja Tamas Malinas Prakriti. When it reflects on the other aspect of this Malina Prakriti, which is impure Prakriti, when it's in the tamasic, the most tamasic, and then it produces what? It produces all inert beings, all inert material universe. Every aspect of the inert universe is the reflection of consciousness in this impure Prakriti, dominated by Rajas and Tamas, but Tamas being the most predominant. And then we have the inert object. And then when it reflects on this impure Prakriti, but this impure Prakriti is mostly dominated by Rajas, having some Sattva, having some Raj, Sattva, and then it produces the Jivas, the sentient beings. Okay, sentient beings, they enjoy two aspects. They have some intelligence, some knowledge, and some ignorance. The inert beings are fully ignorant. Okay, they don't have a subtle body. So we jivas, we enjoy somehow. Our reflection is superior. I mean, we have a good reflection as human jivas due to the purity of our subtle body, of course. So we have to remember the jiva is a similar phenomenon as Ishwara. So Ishwara is consciousness reflect in the macrocosmic Prakriti, okay? In the macrocosmic reflecting medium, okay? So we have this Prakriti, and then it reflects on the Sattvic aspect of itself, and then we have this huge being called Ishwara. Maya as Ishwara, okay? So Maya and Ishwara is not matter, it's not energy, is chaitanya, reflect on Sattva, in the Sattvic aspect. So it's really very close to Brahman, let's say, you understand? So what is the difference? Jivas, they are constructed by the reflection in the macrocosmic reflecting medium when it's dominated by rajas, and then we have these living beings, okay? But these living beings, they are really atma, jiva atmas, you understand? To the extent that their intellect comes up after a certain age, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, the intellect develops, and then we have a secondary reflecting medium called the subtle body. And depending on the nature of this subtle body, we're going to have a living being. Jiva is reflecting the reflection of chaitanya in the microcosmic subtle body of the three bodies, which is just an object in media. So the jiva is not the three bodies. The jiva is not just a sentient body. The jiva is the sentience that is a reflection of consciousness, that happens on a second level on the subtle body, which is a mini reflecting medium on which we have this production. We have jiva. So what is the difference between jiva and Ishvara? So Ishvara is just pure knowledge, pure intelligence. That's why in many passages on our text, we say Ishvara controls Maya, because Ishvara, being pure intelligent, it can control the three aspects of Maya: Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. Ishvara being pure such, he starts, blending and configuring all kinds of names and forms of the universe. It can play with Maya, you understand? But Ishvara is not the medium. It's not a Sattvic pure reflecting medium. That is the pure Prakriti. Ishvara is this consciousness reflecting that macrocosm pure reflecting medium. And the jiva enjoys some knowledge and intelligence, but unfortunately, our subtle bodies, they are too much conditioned or influenced by the addition. Ishvara is the macrocosm reflection, and it's pure sattva, as pure as it can be, and then it has all the knowledge of the universe. The subtle body of the jiva, this mini reflecting medium, it needs rajas and tamas, as it seems, to stand. You understand? And then we have this reflection. We are the reflection. We are just jiva atma, this reflection of consciousness. But unfortunately, we don't know what Ishvara knows, because Ishvara it's it's bright, because it shines in pure sattva, and the jiva atma shines in a subtle body, which is conditioned by some sattva. We know that the sattva body has a lot of sattva to really be a sattva body. To offer some reflection of consciousness, it needs to have a lot of sattva. But unfortunately, this medium, this micro reflecting medium of the subtle body of the Jiva Atma, needs to have rajas and tamas. Therefore, we know, but we don't know. You understand? We have this situation of knowledge, of ignorance, rajas and tamas mixed up with, how to say, we are the experience of Avidya. Avidya is most relevant from the standpoint of the jiva, because he has some knowledge, but he has some of those two aspects of the impure Prakriti. The Prakriti is impure because it has some sattva, but then it mixes with rajas and tamas. You understand? And then it produces the jivas and the inert universe. So the jiva, likewise, has this reflection, and this reflection is conditioned also by rajas and tamas. Avidya is mixed there in our subtle body, and therefore we live in a kind of twilight, I think, I forgot. How you say twilight? Yeah, twilight zone, twilight zone. Why? Because we have some understanding, but we have a lot of things that we don't have a clue. We can never really know much. And if it was not for Ishvara to reveal this scriptural knowledge, we would have no clue you know, in regards to moksha and the true nature of reality as non-dual self, non-dual consciousness, you know. So that is just a small introduction. So let's go back here. Is everything make sense so far? Gert?
Yeah. I don't really know what to, yes, it makes sense. I'm trying to grasp all the things you're okay. saying, and but it makes sense. But I kind of go in and out of attaining the knowledge, and then I get lost for a second. But it makes sense. Yes,
it's gonna build. It's gonna build, and it's going to become more and more clear as we follow the scripture yes. Here, the verse. Okay.
Yep.
So this pure macrocosmic, okay, Sattvic Prakriti, as we said. So the medium, the reflecting medium. So when it is Sattvic, you know, it is clear. It is a bright mirror. It's like one of those perfect mirrors, you know. So it is called reflected consciousness, pratibimba chaitanya. So this reflect consciousness it refers to what? Refers to the jiva? No, it refers to what? Ishwara, Maya Ishwara. Okay, Maya Ishwara is consciousness reflect in pure Sattvic, pure Prakriti. And then we have God. God is pure knowledge. Okay, it's bright, it knows everything. God is pratibimba chaitanya. Okay, but pratibimba is a reflect, okay, of consciousness. Chaitanya goes for consciousness. This reflect consciousness, because we hear often that the jiva is reflected consciousness, okay? But its consciousness reflect on the subtle body. Ishwara is consciousness reflect on pure Prakriti. So when Ishwara reflects on the macrocosmic pure Prakriti, and then we have pratibimba chaitanya, which refers to Ishwara, pure knowledge, the knowledge of the entire universe and all universe in the past and in the future, okay? So when this pure Prakriti is clear, it's like a bright mirror. It's called reflected consciousness when it reflects on this pure Sattvic Prakriti. And then it produces pratibimba chaitanya, which refers to Ishwara, okay? It's the consciousness reflect in pure Sattva Guna on the macrocosmic level. You understand this? You understand, Elizabeth? Okay.
I try.
Okay. We know, we hear...
It trickles in. Like
yeah. We hear a lot in the Panchadasi. We're gonna hear a lot about original consciousness and reflected consciousness, right? We're aware of that, huh? We heard these teachings not only from Panchadasi, but from other texts. We have original consciousness and we have reflected consciousness. And we always think of reflect consciousness as the Jivatma, because we always look at that teaching in the context of the jiva, trying to understand its true nature as original consciousness. That's why we have the statement, Jiva-atma, Paramatma, Aikya, né? Tattvamasi, Jiva-atma é igual ao Paramatma in its nature, its sense, you know? So why? Original consciousness, reflected consciousness. So the bottom line, the common denominator is consciousness. It's the same consciousness. One is in its original condition, and the other is reflect. But I'm opening up this how to say? I'm making this this small I forgot the expression, to explain that there are two kinds of reflected consciousness. There is Ishvara. Ishvara is also reflected consciousness. That's the point I want to make here, okay? You understood it, David? Ishvara is also reflected consciousness. You understand? Ishvara is not the pure Prakriti. Pure Prakriti is matter. This matter is going to allow Ishvara to shine, because consciousness is going to shine in this macrocosm reflecting medium, conditioned by as much sattva as possible. So Ishvara is also reflected consciousness. I just want to make sure that we make no confusion here, okay? This reflect consciousness refers to Ishvara. Ishvara is also reflected consciousness.
Reflect consciousness on Nitya is all reflect consciousness.
Yeah, Satya is original consciousness, okay? And then we have Mitya. And in order for Mitya to take place, we need a reflecting medium. And this reflecting medium is called Prakriti, okay? And when this Prakriti is mostly Sattva, and then we have a reflected consciousness, which is called Ishvara, because this consciousness reflecting the macrocosmic reflecting medium. We see the projection of consciousness reflecting the Rajasic aspect of Prakriti. We're gonna have the Jivas. And then we see in the Jivas another reflecting medium, of course. We see every Jiva producing each and every Jiva. And then we have this microcosmic reflecting medium called the subtle body of the Jiva, which is going to produce a reflect consciousness, which is called the Jiva Atma. Is this clear to everyone? It's important that we are the same page here.
So Prakriti, Linda, is basically the three gunas, yeah? But in very, very subtle form.
Yeah. So we're gonna go more in details. If to simplify the teachings, we say that Maya is Prakriti and Prakriti are the three gunas.
Okay.
You understand? So to simplify, we can say, yeah, it's Maya, it is the three gunas and so on, but we're gonna go into more nuance, more subtleties about these teachings.
And Orlando, so I have a question. So would the difference then be like Ishvara as the microcosm and Brahman is the macrocosm? Kind of, I mean, is that correct?
Can you repeat your question, Karen, please?
Ishvara is like Maya, the microcosm, and Brahman is the macrocosm?
No, Brahman is what we call pure consciousness, okay? Original consciousness. So consciousness, before it shines or reflects in Maya, in one aspect of Maya being, this macrocosmic reflecting medium. Before it reflects, we call pure Brahman or pure consciousness, you understand? But the thing is that even after it reflects in this Prakriti, and then we have this phenomenal world of names and forms, Brahman or consciousness remains pure consciousness. I'm trying to make a point here so that nobody understand, may think that consciousness becomes impure with the presence of Maya and its superimposition as the universe. No. So, but we call pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is Brahman. Brahman, pure consciousness, when Maya comes, okay? when Maya comes and then it shines, it reflects on this macrocosm reflecting medium. You remember the teachings of the subtle body being like a mirror that reflects consciousness to produce the Jiva Atma. So the same way, pure limitless consciousness reflects on the macrocosmic, okay, macrocosmic reflecting medium. This macrocosmic reflecting medium is called Prakriti. And Prakriti are of two nature, two denominations, pure and impure. By pure, it means when it's Sattva Guna, not really mix up much with Rajas and Tamas. When this Prakriti, this mirror, is pure Sattvic, as pure as it can be, and then we have Maya Ishwara, the knowledge, the intelligence, okay, that which is the efficient cause of the universe, the intelligent cause. So one thing is Brahman, and then Brahman is going to shine on the macrocosmic medium, reflecting medium, which is called Prakriti, which sometimes we call Maya, okay? Okay, so when it shines in this macrocosmic medium, reflecting medium, and then it produces what? Ishwara, Jiva, and Jagat. Ishwara, Jiva, and Jagat is consciousness reflect in Prakriti. You understand? On the macrocosmic reflecting medium. So who brings about this macrocosmic reflecting medium? Maya. That's why we are sailing here on very, very subtle waters, because Maya, who brought about this reflecting medium, this macrocosmic one, you understand? So it's Maya, it's this power that brings it about. And then in its sattvic aspect, it produces Ishwara. So what most important to us to understand is Ishwara, okay? Because Maya brings about duality. Maya brings about energy, okay? When it brings energy, it's something other than consciousness. And then this something which belongs to another dimension, another order of reality called Mithya. But yet this Mithya reality, superimpose itself on consciousness, and then consciousness shines, and it shines the brightest on the sattvic aspect of these energies. You understand? This mirror is composed of energies, the three energies, and consciousness is going to shine or reflect on the brightest in the sattvic aspect of this reflecting medium to produce Ishwara, okay? So the macrocosm is the reflecting medium that, to keep it simple, we call Maya. Maya brings about the three energies. Maya is about the three energies making up this mirror-like reflecting, macrocosmic reflecting medium. And then consciousness is going to shine in those different aspects of Maya, of this reflecting medium, to produce Ishwara, Jiva, and Jagat. Did you get that, Karen?
Yes, a little more clearly. It's still
It's
takes
going
some
to, it's
contemplation.
going to build, okay? So this pure macrocosmic sattva, we are talking about the reflecting medium. This Prakriti, which is pure Prakriti. Prakriti are the two kinds, pure and pure. This pure Prakriti, okay, is sattva and is responsible for the knowledge which shapes all names and forms of the entire creator. So creation, this is not new for us. We know that the universe begins with knowledge, and this knowledge is called the intelligent cause of the universe. In other words, it's called Ishwara. It's Maya. When Maya means Ishwara, it means the aspect of Maya which is heavily conditioned by Sattva. And then we have this huge body of knowledge. Ishvara is nothing but a self-conscious being, you know, and its fabric, its very body is knowledge. Can we understand a being that is not made out of flesh, and it's only made out of sattva, and its body is just made out of knowledge, you know, and it's out of this knowledge that he projects the universe, you know, Ishvara, mixing up this sattva, this pure knowledge, with some rajas, the projecting power, and some tamas, the grossifying energy that is going to bring about all the names and forms of the universe. You understand? So we have this sattva, which is responsible for this knowledge, and this knowledge is responsible to bring about all names and forms in the entire creation. It is awareness appearing as a knower. So when awareness appears as a knower, we are referring to the Jiva Atma. The Jiva Atma is consciousness appearing as a knower. We know that the creation involves these three factors: the creator, the creation, and the knower experience, because a creation does not make any sense without jivas to experience it and to know it, okay? So this projection that comes out of pure sattva is responsible for this universe. It is awareness appearing as the Jivatma, the knower of Ishvara's creation. It is the blueprint for the eternal truths, forces, and laws, the tattvas. So it means that this pure sattva is also the blueprint for all truths, for all force, and for all laws that structure the creation. We know that this universe, being projected out of pure knowledge, it can only be structured intelligently. You know, it's a very intelligently designed and structured universe that follows fundamental laws to the clock, to the precision of the clock, okay? That's escape these laws. So it is responsible for the Jivatmas, it's responsible for all inert object, and it's responsible for all the laws that structure and manage, sustains this universe. This universe is sustained by laws, physical laws. Now, from the standpoint of the Jivatma, psychological, ethic, moral laws. So laws are also part of this huge body of Ishvara. It's not only the intelligence, but it manifests itself, you know, as the entire universe, in which there are two kinds of object: inert object, sentient object, and then this sentient object have to transact in this Jagata, and then he will understand sooner or later that there are laws governing the human experience. And these laws are the most important for us to understand, because they are the ethic, moral, psychological laws that somehow are going to help us to develop a sattvic mind so that we can get out of this samsara game. Therefore, it's the blueprint for all the laws and the force that structure the creation. The three gunas, the five elements, the living beings, the jivas, all the laws such as karma, etc. It knows everything. It's not responsible for evil. This is an important point, because a lot of the time we blame Ishvara. Why so much suffering in the world and so on? Why so much evil in the world? You know? So the scripture says that Ishvara consciousness and the pure reflection of consciousness on sattva, which is Mr. Ishvara, is not responsible. It's responsible to create the universe and maintain and structure by its laws, but it's not responsible for the evil we find in the world. And of course, the evil is only relevant in reference to the human jivas, because good and evil only stands from the standpoint of the Jiva Atma that, has the freedom to conform to the natural laws or violate the natural laws. All other sentient beings have no free will, they have no choice, they cannot choose to conform or violate the natural laws. They are compelled mechanically to follow the nature of this intelligent order. You understand? They are designed to just follow their nature. So, but the Jiva Atma, so we have this problem because karma and evil, and then we understand, oh my God, why so much evil? Okay, this evil, Ishvara is not really responsible because Ishvara is pure pratibimba chaitanya, it's pure reflect consciousness, and then it produces the universe. Okay, in the production, in the mixing up of the energies, it brings about inert object. Inert objects, they don't have even a subtle body, so they don't, there is some knowledge building to bring about every inert object, but they don't experience intelligence, knowledge, consciousness, you understand? So they are totally ignorant, but yet we need a universe with a lot of these ignorant beings. I like to call it beings, these inert beings, because they are all part of a planet, for example, which is alive. The planet is a living being, you understand? So all this rock, all these mountains, all these oceans, everything is alive and intelligent, designed to follow its nature. So I like to put it in terms of beings, although they don't have a subtle body, okay? So these jivas are the one having to deal with this question of good and evil because they have the free will that allows them to conform to the natural laws or to violate these laws. And we know very well why the Jiva-atmas violate the laws. Because the Jiva-atmas, having the power of choice, they choose their experience, they choose how to respond, and then they receive bad results and good results, pleasurable results, unpleasurable results, and then they develop preference, and then this preference, they become habits, and then they begin wanting certain kinds of experience and not wanting others, and then they come to the point of violate the laws for the sake of experience what they want, what they like, what gives them pleasure, and not experience. So this is all in the context of the Jiva-atma. So Ishvara is not responsible for the evil because Ishvara is not mixed with Rajas and Tamas. Jiva-atma, as I told you in the beginning, is in a more difficult position because he has some knowledge, but he has Rajas and Tamas condition one's intellect. And then we are subject to error, and we are subject to these binding vasanas that are going to press us to behave in a way that is not in harmony with all other living creatures and the environment and so on. It's not responsible for evil because it's not mixed with Rajas and Tamas. And now here it appears the concealing power of Maya is Avarana, and the projecting power is Vikshipa. And there is a slight difference between Rajas and Tamas and Vikshipa and Avarana. And we're going to have the opportunity to address it a little bit later. So Ishvara is pure knowledge.
Arlindo?
Yep.
I have a question. I'm a little confused about your describing Ishvara kind of as a self-conscious being.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just a language thing, but in my knowledge, isn't it always just it's like an object, isn't it, Ishvara? I mean, it's just what's the word for it? I think I'm a little confused when you said it's an
Yeah. Okay.
self-conscious being.
Yeah. Let me elaborate a little bit more. So
Okay.
why we can equate Jivatma with Paramatma? We know Tattvamasi means Jivatma is Paramatma in its essence. Okay, the nature of the Jivatma is the same as Brahman, Paramatma. Okay, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am pure limitless consciousness. Why? Because Jivatma is the reflection of pure consciousness on this Sattva body, and then Jivatma, having some knowledge and some ignorance mixed up, works to clear up one's Sattva body to become a better Jivatma, wiser, more sattvic, more clear, more bright. Okay, and then it starts inquiring, and then it has the potential to discover that the Atma of this reflection is the same Atma of the original consciousness. Okay, so now we have original consciousness and we have Jiva-Atma, which is reflect consciousness from the standpoint of the individual Jiva. Consciousness also reflects on Maya, and when it reflects on the pure sattvic aspect of Maya, it produces a living being, which is not a big Jiva, because Jivas are always a reflection on some Sattva mixed up with Rajas and Tamas that makes the Jiva knowing but not really knowing what's going on. You understand? Having a little bit of knowledge mixed up with Avidya. Jivas suffer of Avidya, okay, which is impure Prakriti on the macrocosmic level, influence on the microcosmic level. It's Jivahood, it's Atma, it's Jiva Atma. So the reflection of consciousness on the Sattva body makes Jiva Atma. Jiva Atma is consciousness once he knows it. Okay? So what is the Jiva Atma? Jiva Atma is the body. Is Jiva Atma an object? Depends. If the Jiva Atma is identified as the bodies, and then it's an object, you understand? But if the Jiva Atma identifies with the Atma of the Jiva, you understand? If the Jiva Atma, what is self-knowledge? Self-knowledge is the Jiva understand that the true nature of the Jiva is not the three bodies. The true nature of the Jiva is consciousness that infuses the three bodies to bring about this reflected spirit. So the nature of the Jiva is the spirit. The Jiva is an object for as long as it believes itself to be the three bodies, the five sheets, and understand the three states. You understand? Because all of that is matter, it's energy. Yes, that? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is an object when it is identified with its material, energetic experience aspect. But when he identifies as the spirit, as pure consciousness, and then the Jiva Atma can, say very, very humbly, he can say, Aham Brahmasmi, because everything is Brahman, you understand? So now the Jiva Atma understood. So now, in the case of Ishvara, being the same consciousness reflect in the macrocosm reflecting medial. You understand? So it is the Lord of the universe. You understand? It is embodied with pure knowledge. It does not grossify because there are no inclusions of Rajas and Tamas to give him a physical body in which he may fall into avidya. It's self-conscious. He's self-conscious because his pure consciousness, his consciousness reflects his pure knowledge. You understand? He's the all knowledge of the universe. There's no way Ishvara is not self-conscious, because it is the closest thing of pure limitless consciousness when it reflects on the pure Prakriti. When you have a reflection of something on a pure mirror, you can see that the reflection is perfect. So that's the case with Ishvara. You understand? Ishvara is a reflection of consciousness on the pure Prakriti, pure aspect of Prakriti, to bring about this being, which is pure knowledge. It's so much not what brings about the physical body is grossification of energies. We need to get the three gunas to bring about the five subtle elements, and then they are going to grossify. So when it comes to the living beings, the jivas like us, we have a lot of rajas and a lot of tamas that are going to allow for this physical body. You understand? So Ishvara it does not have Rajas and Tamas. It's just pure Sattva, but it is a self-conscious being. You understand? That's why we have all this reverence and appreciation for Ishvara. But Ishvara is not a super jiva. A lot of people think that Ishvara is a super jiva. If it was a super jiva, he would have Rajas and Tamas, and he would be subject to action and karma and everything. No, he is the knowledge. It's pure knowledge. Ishvara is one of the most beautiful things once we understand it,
Yeah. But you still can say that then Ishvara is a, maybe that's just my wrong understanding, but is it that it's just, I always kind of saw it as inert, as an object, as matter almost.
No. Jiva, is the Jiva inert? Jiva Atma, is Jiva Atma inert? Is the Jiva Atma inert?
No.
No, because we are a reflect consciousness. So we enjoy existence consciousness. We just don't understand that our existence consciousness is limitless. You understand? So Ishvara is not inert. Ishvara is mitya. Ishvara is mitya. Brahman is satya. Why Ishvara is mitya? Because Ishvara depends on a reflecting medium. You understand? Right. So its existence is a dependable existence on Maya, on the Prakriti. You understand? It enjoys an existence that depends on a reflecting medium, but in itself, it's not the reflecting medium. Reflecting medium is matter. Ishvara is pure sattva, is pure knowledge, is pure consciousness, as pure as it can be. You understand? So it's not inert. It is mitya. Why? Because it's not always present. It depends on the reflecting medium. You understand? When Maya goes to sleep, or Brahma goes to sleep, Ishvara disappears. And then when Ishvara disappears, Jiva disappears, and Jagat disappears, because Jiva and Jagat, they are different aspects of the same reflection of consciousness on this Prakriti. You understand? So Ishvara is pure knowledge, is pure, as pure as consciousness, reflect consciousness can be. It has the power to project and create and maintain and destroy, recycle everything. This is all it's pure intelligence. You understand? But this Ishvara is mitya. You understand? But the scriptures say that Ishvara has self-knowledge, and this is somehow a little bit difficult for us to understand, because Ishvara is not a super jiva. Why? Because Ishvara is made of a pure knowledge. Ishvara is going to concede the knowledge that's going to make the Jiva-Atma knowledgeable about what they know. So Ishvara being the very fabric called knowledge that concedes some knowledge to the Jivas, you understand? And the Jivas get a bit confused because there is a lot of Avidya operating in one's intellect. But Ishvara, if even Jiva has the possibility to develop self-knowledge, how about Ishvara that has the knowledge that was somehow conceded to the Jiva, so that the Jiva could play this game, you understand? Until he discovered the nature of reality. So Ishvara is said to be a self-conscious being. It has self-knowledge, you understand? But it's not a super jiva. It's not responsible for the evil. He's just the blueprint. He's just the intelligent cause of the universe, and it's going to, in fact, it's Ishvara that's going to be shining in the subtle body of the jivas. Consciousness is going to shine in the macrocosm, in the Shwara, and the Shwara is going to consider its reflect consciousness to all Shivas, you understand?
Okay.
I knew that this session today was going to be intense. I hope you guys enjoy.
Do you think we get caught up in on the word being then? Is like being feels like a body. When you say being, I think of a body. And do we get hung up on,
No.
Ishvara as a self-conscious being because we think of
Yeah.
it, you're trying to say it's a body. So
No, this word being stands for existence. And we use this being to try to take our attention away from the body, from the physical body, or even the subtle body. So being is in some other circles is very much used as being, as knowing, as it's the same. It's a similar word, not really a Vedantic word, but pointing to Sat-Chit, existence and consciousness, knowingness and beingness. You understand? Beingness standing for Sat. It's somehow in your mind that you have associate beingness with body, but it's not the intent of this word, generally speaking. Okay, the second stage of the creation is called Avidya. So now we have the same Prakriti, which somehow begins with development of Sattva, and then boom, Ishvara, pure knowledge, and then Sattva develops Rajas and Tamas. And then once it gets mixed up with Rajas and Tamas, this Prakriti is said to be impure, okay? And then we have what we call the stage Avidya, okay? Which predominant Rajas, and it's going to appear Tamas as well. Consciousness reflects in a dual mirror. So we have covered already. So it's going to reflect on the aspect of Prakriti, which is not only Sattva, but it has inclusions of Rajas and Tamas as well. Consciousness reflects in a dual mirror. When pure Sattvic Guna is mixed with Rajas and Tama, it's called Raja Malina, which means impure Prakriti. It is Avidya. It is Avidya, personal ignorance. Okay, so this personal ignorance is in reference in the context of the Jivatma. Okay, it is Avidya, personal ignorance as experienced by the Jivas. It's also referred to be the causal body, Karana Shahira, because it is in the causal body that we experience total ignorance. You understand? Although the subtle body is very, very subtle, or the causal body is extremely subtle, okay? It calls the subtle and it calls the physical body, but it's conditioned by a lot of tamas and very little sattva. Therefore, there is no possibility of any knowledge there. So for knowledge to happen, we need to have a reflecting medium. The reflecting medium, of course, in the subtle body. So this total ignorance is often referred to the causal body. So in the state of deep sleep, the subtle body unfolds back or is suspended or is suppressed, and then we experience our existence. We experience ourselves by a certain medium in the causal body. There is a body there. That's why I say causal body. It's a medium by which the Jiva Atma experience this beautiful avidya. Ignorance is bliss, as we know, because we enjoy going to bed and having a total ignorance for a few hours to forget our trouble, right? Right? It is the causal body, Karana Shahira, because it generates the objects that present themselves to consciousness. It is the causal body that causes everything. It generates all objects, the sentient and the inert object. Avidya is multifaceted, diverse and pluralistic. It shatters the pure mirror of awareness and scatters it into innumerable shards, which reflect awareness in the form of infinite diverse names and forms, and the infinite name and diverse living beings. As a result of Rajas, limitless awareness appears as a limited entity called Jiva, and it appears first in the causal formation as the prana jivas, and then the prana jivas, they turn to become the Vishwa and Taijasa. So let's go back here a little bit. Avidya is multifaceted, diverse and pluralistic. So Avidya is Sattva mixed up with Rajas and Tamas to produce the living creatures, the living beings, among those the human jivas, okay? And this combination of these three energies are going to bring about the five subtle elements, and the five subtle elements are going to unfold, break down, and divide and recombine to grossify, to become physical matter. And then all this breaking and mixing and fragmenting, is going to produce, a multifaceted, diverse and pluralistic universe of names and forms, including the sentient names called and forms called the jivas. It is like it shatters the pure mirror. Before we have this pure mirror, it was pure Prakriti. And then consciousness was shining as pure knowledge, pure Ishvara, God, you understand? And now we got Rajas and Tamas. And then we produce a situation in which this bright, pure mirror, as if it was totally broken in small pieces, and then the reflection becomes numberless, it becomes like shattered in infinite numbers of shards, and which produce all the. This is an analogy, but it serves the purpose to help us to understand that unless we have rajas is the projecting power, projecting energy. This rajas is not going to be there, quiet, supporting this bright mirror of Sattva. Is going to try to make something out of it, because it is the nature of rajas to create. So before we have the blueprint, before we have the knowledge of creation, but now we have rajas, and rajas is going to take that and is going to move it, into creation. And then in order to do that as well, so we need to, Ishvara needs to also get rajas involved, because you cannot create a universe without the raw material of this universe. So and then we need to get the three energies, we need to produce the five subtle elements, and then we can create a universe on the on the causal level, in which everything is in there, and then later on it grossifies to become the subtle world and the physical world. So it's multifaceted, it's colored by Rajas and Tamas, the projecting power and the grossifying power, and then it's going to create diverse and pluralistic names and forms. It's like shattering this pure mirror of consciousness and scatters it into innumerable shards, which reflect awareness in the form of infinite diverse names and forms. So there is an analogy in our text that compares these energies as something in a bucket. For example, we have a bucket, and then we have a clear water in a bucket, and then we have this bucket resting, and there is no breeze, there is no wind, and then its surface becomes a mirror-like surface, and then it's going to reflect the sky, the stars, the moon, you understand? Because it's a bright, pure mirror. Now, there comes Mr. Roger with a blow of wind, and then this bucket, or better, I prefer the analogy of a lake, and then the lake develops a lot of, ripples, no? And then now we have this condition of the surface of the lake. So now what's going to happen with the reflection on this lake? It's going to be scattered. You are not going to understand where is this moon, because now instead of seeing one moon, I would say several moons, you understand, and the stars. So things became confused, you understand? So this mirror is not just bright and clear, it's shattered, and it's going to produce innumerable shards which reflect awareness or consciousness in the form of infinite potentials of living beings and inert objects. And then, just to complete this analogy, there is another analogy to describe tamas, is a lake or a bucket that is full of water, but a lot of mud as well. So when we bring about mud is tamas, it's the earth element, there is a lot of physical material energy in there, tamas. And then when we bring about tamas, the mud,